everybody. As you can see, we are here on Highrise in Modern Warfare 2. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. And we are here on Highrise today on this very classic multiplayer map to wander around, take in the sights, the very familiar sights, if you're anything like me, and spend many hours playing Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer. And so we're going to take in the sights of some maps today. I don't know how many we'll get to. Depends on how long we ditz around in each one. But we're starting with what for me is maybe the most iconic Call of Duty map of all time. Although there are many contenders for that crown. At the very least, for me, this is the most iconic map of Modern Warfare 2. And we're going to be chilling and looking at the map in a new way. Without bullets flying everywhere, we can appreciate the more subtle designs, such as this neighboring skyscraper with all these little restaurant tables and a bar. And of course, this is the map proper over here, with all these cranes up in the sky, which is a very stormy sky. I hadn't really thought about that before, but it's very stormy up there. Gray clouds. And we can continue walking down this crane for a very long while. And, I never actually noticed this, but there's a pool over on this side. Can't tell if the pool is empty or full of water. I mean, this city is so dense, and we can see some traffic down there. Just hop up here for a better look. And of course, we can walk up this crane even higher, but look down at these cars far below. And another cool thing about the design of this map is all the cloud cover far below. I mean, mist or clouds or smoke or something. I don't know what it is, dust, but it's very striking. It's a very striking effect. Just this thick layer of fog hovering partway down the city. And of course the clouds high above as well. It just gives the city this mythical vibe or something. I don't know quite how to put it, like there's this air of unreality, especially with how tall the buildings are. I mean, we're on a high rise, but look at those ones out there. Makes them seem like Mount Olympus or something. Looks like that building has been trashed. But, yeah, Modern Warfare 2. This, I don't know, doesn't get much more nostalgic than this for me. I mean, there's a variety of games that I spent a lot of time on when I was younger. But this was a major one. Of course, we can walk all the way back along this crane. And I'm not going to try it because I'd probably fall and die, but you can jump on those right there. And you can keep hopping along the window frame. But let's go back inside and check out this building. So Highrise, of course, is composed of these two indoor office building areas. And I just exploded a bunch of papers. Some intern is going to have to put all that back together. These two office building type areas, and in between them is an outdoor rooftop area with a helipad and some generators and ventilation units and stuff like that. And we can just appreciate all this set dressing around here. All this environmental design. These monitors. Oh, would you look at those files? Those desktops need to be cleaned up. They're so unorganized. It's funny how those monitors are horizontal, but this is a vertical monitor. So, of course, these two buildings are the spawn points for the map. One team spawns in this building, the other one spawns in the building across the way. We've got some photos here. Hard to tell with the glare, but looks like some kind of village or something. Here we have, looks like the pyramids. The pyramids of Giza. And some sort of city street or something there. And whatever happened here, in the context of this game, clearly there was a lot of chaos. Because there are boxes everywhere, papers all over the place. This office is a total mess. So, it might be that we are in the middle of World War III in this map. And here's a little teddy bear. Makes you wonder how it got up on this light fixture. So, Highrise was a mainstay in the Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer scene. Team deathmatch, domination, capture the flag, sabotage. Was sabotage a game mode in this one? I think it was. Search and destroy. Michael Myers. All sorts of classic game modes were played on this map. You've got this whole under area. You can walk down from one of the office buildings below and come out into this lower level of the map. It was a fun map design, having the upper level and then the level below it. And of course you have a variety of ways to go between the two. Staircases and ladders. And if you're above, you can always just hop off a railing and drop down below. But this video is kind of a follow-up to my Halo CE maps video where I wander around some Halo CE maps. And the idea is to kind of appreciate the quiet nature of these maps. Appreciate their design, their art style, all their little quirks. Because when you were engaging with them normally, also I hope none of you have a fear of heights. But don't worry, I'm not going to fall. This is just a little secret path around the side. Got all these big buildings out there. I love that. Just the thick layer of fog. You can just see how there's just like a JPEG down there. Well, the cars are just squashed flat onto the ground. And of course you can hop back up and climb around this side. So it's a sneaky way to get from one side of the building to the other. But yeah, just like in my Halo video, you know, we got a helicopter here. Looks like a Russian helicopter. I don't know for sure, but we can go across here as well. This map has a lot of little pathways like this. Little secret paths, or not even secret, just, you know, little crisscrossy ways to go from one place to another. Of course, trying to cross there is very dangerous because you're exposed to like all the sightlines on the map. But yeah, when we play these games in multiplayer, they're always so chaotic because you're running around, competing, attacking each other. I like how this elevator has a rug in it. Very fancy. And you know, it's very chaotic. You're not really stopping to smell the roses. I think you can get up here. I know you can. Maybe it's not there. Do you have to go up here? There's some way to get on top of that sign. There's a lot of like little glitch spots and stuff in Modern Warfare 2 that you can get to if you're good at parkouring around the terrain. And back in the day, I certainly knew my fair share of them, but it's been a long time. The brain did not retain that information. There was a way up under that sign, I just don't remember. I have a little calendar there. So this is the other office building. But yeah, as I was saying, you know, when you're playing these maps, normally you're not stopping to appreciate the design. And I just thought it would be nice to kind of go over these old maps. These old maps that, if you're like me, you've spent so much time on, that you can kind of navigate them with your eyes closed. And then, instead of playing in the chaotic, you know, team deathmatch or whatever, we can just wander around and take in the sights. Appreciate all the little design decisions. Find any quirks. like these poorly sorted files. They're not lined up properly. Or the fact that those computer monitors are just everywhere, in random places, just on random cabinets and stuff. There's just computer monitors. You know, they have the asset. They need to populate an area, make it look and feel lived in, make it feel like a regular place. But if you stop and kind of examine it more closely, that illusion might break down. Such as the preposterous amount of computer monitors that are just chilling around these office buildings. And, of course, over here is a famous spot. A famous little pathway. Close your eyes if you're scared of heights. There we go. I still got it. So, you climb up here, and then you walk very carefully all the way around here. And you can imagine in a match with people running around, this is a very difficult thing to do. But when it's just you and me chilling on this map together, it's quite easy. That vista of the city is just very striking. I like it. And we will creep around here, turn this corner, and then you climb up here and you jump up to the left. Right up there. You can go over there. But yeah, you can, got a great view of all these little places that people could be hiding in, fighting in. And of course, you just kerplunk. Go out here, take another look at that pool. Way down below. Yeah, it's cool. It just gives this, the cloud design on this map just gives the whole thing a sort of air of unreality or something to me that I think is pretty cool. So here we go. This is the famous Highrise sniping perch. Once you're up here, you have a view of the enemy spawn and a good portion of the rest of the map. And of course you have to bring a tactical insertion so you can drop it and respawn up here so you don't have to make the climb again. And watch out for that fuel tank, of course. Look at those buildings. The skybox, it's that's what really stands out to me, those buildings up there in the distance. They just tower over you. It makes them feel like these mountainous things. But of course this fuel tank, if you pop it enough times, there we go, it's leaking fuel. And alright, it's ignited. And there it goes. Of course I wouldn't make you watch that. It's too violent for a relaxing video. Here we are on Quarry. Boas vindas a pedreira, por favor, permaneça no camino. Este lugar é fechado durante noite. Para mais informação, por favor, disca 553 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 2. How do you say 0 in Spanish? 0. I don't know. I'm assuming that's Spanish. Could it be like Portuguese? I don't know. I took French in high school, which is not the most useful language, considering the frequency of the other language option, which was Spanish. Well, you could also take Latin, but I don't know. I was not a Latin kid. All the smart kids took Latin. The kids who were gonna, who went to college for like law school or whatever. Although I actually really do like Latin, and I think it would have been cool to learn in retrospect, because I've developed a real taste for etymology. I really like etymology, which is the study of word origins. And I love seeing how words that we use today came from, other languages, or are sort of derivative of words from, centuries ago. And there's just lots of cool little things in etymology. It feels like you're learning this sort of puzzle about your language that you use every day. Like there's this whole hidden side to your language that you never knew existed. And of course, a major part of etymology is Latin, because so many words in English have Latin roots. And so, if you know Latin to some degree, it feels like you kind of, you can see the matrix of etymology, so to speak, for all the words that are descended from Latin. There's I don't know, what's a cool, like, etymology fact? I mean, I guess, for instance, like, oh no, what's the river? This has happened numerous times. I think it's the Severn. I might be wrong. I think it might be the Severn River in England, where the Romans showed up in England a long time ago, and they said, hey, what's the name of this river? And the locals said, oh, it's the Severn, which of course, they're speaking different languages and trying to communicate. And so, the Romans say something in Latin. They say, what's this river? And then they hear the word Severn back, and so they think, oh, that's the name of the river. By the way, I don't speak Russian either. I'm assuming that's what this is, because it's Cyrillic. Dangerous. Don't exit until propellers stop. Is there a plane around here? I don't see any propellers to be worried about. But yeah, the local, the Gallic people. Another sign is that, I don't know if this is Spanish or what, but yeah, the local Gauls of England at the time. Were they the Gauls in England? I don't know. My ancient history is not what it could be. I'm just trying to think if I can pull this information out of my head. I don't think I can. So, anyway, this has been the longest story. The locals in Britain said, oh, it's the Severn. And the Romans heard Severn, and they thought, oh, it's the Severn River. It's a river called Severn. But what it actually was they were just saying their word for river, which was Severn. They were saying, oh, it's a river. And That's happened numerous times. It's happened in America. With a river. Which one? The Delaware? I don't know. I'm butchering these stories because I can't remember the details. Also, I was yapping, but that's Brazil over there. So this is the map Quarry, of course. And this is another classic. I mean, they're all classics, really. If you spend as many hours in Modern Warfare 2 as I did. Also, I didn't point it out when I looked at it because I was yapping about rivers, but there was a Brazilian flag painted on one of these silo building things, so I'm assuming this is in Brazil. And up here is a funny little Easter egg, a little camping spot with a kettle, a couple of kettles, a cooking pot, and some potatoes. And of course, this is I'm assuming this is what I've always thought is, it's a camping spot, which is a reference to campers in the game. And campers, of course, are people who sit in one spot for prolonged periods of time. Perhaps sitting around a corner with a shotgun, or sitting up in a position like this with a sniper rifle. You want to go camping with me? You can take the other sleeping bag. I'll crawl into this one. Good night. See you in the morning. Yeah. This was a fun map. This was one of my favorites. Modern Warfare 2 was a very fun multiplayer. One aspect of it that I really liked was the kill streak that was called something, I forget what it was, the emergency airdrop or something like that. But it was like a care package, which was a random kill streak that would drop in. But it called in like 4 of them at once, and your team could get them. It wasn't necessarily the best kill streak because you could just, it was a pretty high kill count, and you could just stick it at that kill count and get yourself a guaranteed, chopper gunner or whatever. But I just liked it because I thought it was fun to call in. I would run a care package and then the airdrop as well, and I would call them both in at the same time. So I was like getting 5 packages at once, which I just thought was funny. Usually it would be like 2 UAVs and a counter UAV and a sentry gun or whatever, so not exactly the strongest option, but I enjoyed it. So these old maps, what makes a good multiplayer map? I feel like it's, I don't know, just the design. I don't know how to, I'm not a map designer, so I don't really know how to articulate it, but these old maps, in this game, they were very good. And I think it was because they just had lots of, the way that they were laid out led to very dynamic games, There was a mixture of wide open areas and cramped spaces. They all had a good mix of like medium range and long range sight lines. and then of course close quarters areas. And so no matter what sort of class you were playing, what types of guns you were running with, there would be areas of the map that would play to your strengths. And of course there were maps that leaned into one direction or another more, like the map Wasteland was basically just a giant empty field, and so sniper rifles and long-range weaponry was very effective there. But yeah, then there's also elements of like verticality and multiple levels, and so, not only do you have long range, there's a little soccer ball there, you have elements of the environment allowing for people to use a variety of weapon types and still be useful, still have areas of the map that play into their strengths. But they also kind of feed into each other, I think. Like, you can't stay in one place for long. The map is very interconnected. There's always sight lines from some random spot to another spot. You can look out one window and see across the map towards the other side. There's all sorts of interconnections and linkages and pathways and ladders and stairs and yada yada to sort of feed everything into itself. And so, no matter what you did, wherever you were going, if you were staying mobile, you were going to end up in a place of high action at some point. A place of high action at some point. Because, of course, part of what you need in a multiplayer map is, like from a design perspective, is you need the action to be easily obtained, right? You need people to, here we have a little sign, Infinity Ward, the developers of the game. I can't read what that says, something test 23. And then Griggs. Isn't Griggs a character from the game? Isn't one of the soldiers named Griggs? Or is that from Cold War? I think that's from Cold War. So maybe that's like a developer, a guy named Griggs. Maybe that was his picture on the poster. But yeah, I feel like with a good map, you need the action to be as easily obtained as possible. You want the map design to lend itself to sorry, look at that old mouse. That is an old mouse. And that's an old keyboard. It's beautiful. It's like a dinosaur. I've got a gorgeous computer down here. It looks like the type of computer I would plug my CD of Spore into when that came out. Spore. Supposed to be a revolutionary game. I just liked designing my alien mostly. Another beautiful chunky computer. Have you ever thought that it's time for the era of like sleek, minimal aesthetics to move on? Office and retail space available. Reisowitz, commercial developments, 555, 555, 5555. Yeah, we need to go back to the massive, chunky computer monitors. Labios furiosos. The angry lips. I'm a assuming is what that means. Messias atomico. A vaca completamente mal. And international samurai. He is the chosen one, or not. Funny little posters they put in the game. Probably all just inside jokes or something. And here we are on the map terminal. Notice, please wait in line. So this is an airport. We can walk through the metal detector, which of course we set off. And this map is inspired by the campaign mission. Now, Modern Warfare 2 was very, very controversial. Very controversial when it came out for this mission, because it depicted a terrorist attack at an airport. And you played as one of the attackers. And so, when the game came out, it became one of the flashpoints in this sort of video game culture war. And if you're a bit younger, you might not really know this. I feel like this whole culture war kind of died. But for a long time, video games were kind of, it was like Dungeons and Dragons. If you've heard about how back in the 80s, Dungeons and Dragons was associated with like Satanism and cults and stuff, and so it was seen as oh no, your kid's playing Dungeons and Dragons, you gotta cut that out, you gotta stop them, because they're gonna start worshiping the devil. Well, video games in the 2000s and kind of into the 2010s, I would say. We got a little person here, a woman in what looks like an Ushanka cap. Video games were, the big question was, do video games make kids violent? Do video games cause, shootings and stuff like that? And it was a major social issue. I got a bunch of books here. I think today the culture war has only gotten worse. Obviously, there's I won't get into any modern stuff because it's all very. This is a relaxing video, right? But I will say that the environment that we're in today sort of makes the culture war of the 2000s feel quite quaint to me. But yeah, video games were a hot topic. It was it was a real question about how much kids should even be allowed to play video games, and were games like Call of Duty creating murderers and psychopaths. And so whenever a game came out that had a particularly gruesome scene, a graphic scene, like Modern Warfare 2, with its mission, No Russian was the name of the mission, No Russian. It would become kind of the topic du jour, and you would have all the news stations, talking about, oh, this new game is turning our kids into murderers or whatever. But yeah, I think that culture war topic pretty much died out. Video games became it became the thing of video games weren't going to die out. They were too popular, and it didn't matter. In a degree, it didn't matter whether they were making which for the record, I don't think they were, but it sort of didn't matter if it was true or not, because video games were so popular that if you tried to fight against them, it was like trying to, build a dam with a single pebble. You were just going to be washed away. Here we are in the bookstore. We're in a Russian airport. Got some funny little books here. The Sign of Four by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. But Ugly, with a green dog on the cover. 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. The Mysterious Island. And then some Russian text I can't read. Here we have some Shakespeare plays. The Winter's Tale, Hamlet. We've got The Wizard of Oz. We've got A Midsummer Night's Dream. Do any of you speak any of the languages that have appeared in this video? If you do, feel free to explain what, if any, of the signs mean. I wonder if, I'm just curious if they make any sense, or if they're just kind of random assets that the developers pulled from somewhere, or, they fed phrases into a bad translator and it just turned out junk. Kind of curious if it's generally accurate, or if it doesn't make any sense. So Terminal is another good map. Check out this little bar here. Got some wine options. You want anything? I can get you some sparkling water, some vodka, some whiskey, a Cabernet Sauvignon. Nothing for you? Pinot Noir? No? Alright. Let's walk outside. Now that doesn't seem right. And that's an American flag at a Russian airport. Walk around here, look back into the terminal building. Now we're out on the tarmac. We've got all these jets hanging around, all these passenger planes. And we can go into this, little air traffic control tower over there. So of course you can go into this plane here, into the cargo hold, and you can climb up into the cabin. Oxygen masks scattered on the floor. Remember, ensure your oxygen mask is on your face before assisting others. So you can get up onto this plane. I remember that. Am I crazy? Is it not this door? It might not be that door. I don't know. Even if it was, it's been so long. Nope. Not this either, apparently. There's a way up there. I just don't remember how. Here we have the cockpit. And all these nails and buttons and bits and bobs, very greebled. There's no chairs in here. Guess you just gotta stand if you're flying this plane. And then you come around here and you're back in the terminal. Dreams, luggage. We've got some perfume. More Cyrillic that I cannot read. And, well, checkout counter. Yeah, that's, oh, we can look at these as well. Double-crossed, Left for Dead, Vengeance, Brad Allen, Jake Keating, Players, Vegas Will Never Be the Same, and then that samurai one. If I had to guess, I would say those are like developers of the game. Or maybe they're family members or something, I don't know. We can walk back in the plane. Down at the back, there's, little bathroom there. Down at the back, there's a couple of explosive barrels, but once you blow those up, you can just kind of chill there. Camp if you want. Surprise people who are coming into the plane. Can I get up here? Yeah, okay, that's not it. Yeah, okay. But hey, I can do this at least. I can jump onto the wing. The Flugruger. It's a Flugruger plane. You can also get behind that fence. Under that blue and white jet right there. I think, you have to be on that truck, maybe. I don't remember. I just remember the spots. I don't remember the ways to get there. Would be kind of a fun video to just, work on some parkour. Work on these old parkour spots. Try to figure them out again. We can hop up here. Out of this little building. I remember enjoying this little spot, this little building, because it gave you access to kind of a broad area of the map, like sightline-wise. But it wasn't sort of a primary place that people tended to go for or check, so it was a nice little spot to kind of make I liked making like a little base, and I would run out a little ways and, explore an area, see if there were any enemies, and then I wouldn't go too far away. I would turn around, run back in, check it for enemies, and then, pop out a different door and so on. These little airport buggy things that carry luggage, little vehicles. I'll just hop on one and here we are in Wasteland. So this is a old Soviet state. I don't know exactly where it is, what country it's in, but it's very drab, very gray. There's like radiation warnings. Oh, is this like supposed to be that place from Modern Warfare 1, maybe. Was it Pripyat? I don't know. But this map is true to its name, Wasteland. It is just basically a giant empty field. It just has this sort of central bunker environment that walls off sight lines in the center. But other than that, it's very open. Here we have a statue of two soldiers holding up guns. I'm going to assume that is supposed to be a PPSH 41, because it just has a very iconic look. Some memorial to World War II soldiers, probably. I don't think anybody could read that. It's too pixelated. So I can wander around. I will not focus in on that dead cow, because that might be a little upsetting if you're an animal lover, so I'll skirt around that. And we've got all these crosses here. And I'm curious if any of you know, these crosses all have a slanted part near the bottom. Is this like a Russian Orthodox church thing? Is that like or Eastern Orthodoxy or something? Is it some kind of is that like how a certain sect of Christianity does their crosses with a little slant at the bottom? So, all the buildings here are in ruins. The roofs are caved in. There's old, worn-out furniture. They're just crumbling. But here we have a nice photo of a man hugging the neck of a camel. And another photo of a man. Alright, let's get out of this house full of men hugging camels. The ground is pockmarked with bomb craters. There's ruined vehicles, the blades of a helicopter, the tail of a plane, ruined tanks. Nothing more than hunks of scrap metal now. It's a scrapyard. Some old burned out cars. And of course we have these dugout trenches that kind of crisscross through the area. And this little bike on the ground. And we have this kind of gray-green grass. And a little turret mount. Sort of a minigun turret emplacement sort of thing. Anything in this dumpster? Nope. Cleaned out. Cleaned out. So here we have some radiation warnings. And we'll ignore that. See what happens. Yep, okay. We're, that kicked in fast. I was watching a Adam Ragusa video recently. Adam Ragusa, by the way, is a cooking YouTube channel. A sort of cooking/cooking science YouTube channel. And he was talking about how radioactive minerals like uranium or whatever, before the Manhattan Project, before they were being used for bombs, and thus became a very prized resource, were used for dishware. They were turned into glass, dishware, and pottery and stuff. And the glass dishware would glow in the dark because of its radioactive makeup. And, that water tower could use some maintenance. It's looking a little rusty. And so people were eating off of radioactive dishware. Now, it wasn't dangerous to have in your house exactly, because it only emitted alpha particles, I believe. And alpha particles do not penetrate human skin. And so, we've got some old Soviet posters here. Are these real? Or were they made for the game? I wonder. But the trouble was that if you ate off of the radioactive dishware, is that a real guy? If you ate off the radioactive dishware, you would get it in you could, if you ate a piece of the dishware that chipped off, for instance, just a little fragment, then you swallowed it, well, now the alpha particles are wreaking havoc inside of your body. So, while they're not dangerous to have around, you should definitely never eat off of them. Anyway, I just brought that up because of the radiation on this level. So, this was not my favorite map. Because I was not a sniper. I've never been a sniper in any game. Like, any game ever. It's just not a role that I gravitate towards. And I'm not very good at it either. No hands on this clock. Somebody stole the hands off my grandfather clock. What a tragedy. So, because I wasn't a good sniper, and did not enjoy sniping, this map was not great for me because of the long sight lines. You can imagine it was very good for snipers. So I mainly served as sniper fodder on this map, running out trying to get into trenches to fight with other people who also didn't want to snipe. And then we would just be getting picked off by some dude with a Barrett 50 cal or an intervention back at their spawn point. But here, in the center of the map, we have a bunker. And if you did not want to be in the long-range combat, this was the place to go. It's very small, but it was the one place where you could get some cover from some dude in a ghillie suit who was going to pop a headshot on you from 500 yards. Very small, you can see. Basically just one room. Here we have a bunch of that look like RPG I mean, I don't know I mean, not a missile, right? I guess missile in the classical sense, in that it's like, something that flies through the air in the same way that an arrow is a missile. But the nice thing about the trenches is that they were pretty deep, so you would have pretty good cover, especially if you crouched as you were moving through them. It would be hard to see you. But if you hopped over the top and were just running around on the grass, you were going to be down quick. A little fridge. Scattered trees. Yeah, not my favorite map, as I said, but certainly a classic. But here is, what many might consider the most iconic map of Modern Warfare 2. This is Rust. Rust. Let's go hop on the little hidey hole. Yay. Rust is a very small map. Very small. Very close quarters. Close quarters and medium range. With a little bit of verticality, particularly in the center of the map. The large structure there. People can climb up to the very top. And you can see why it's called Rust, of course, because I feel like I'm going to get tetanus just by looking at this stuff. And this is where the campaign of Modern Warfare 2 ends. It's like right about here. You fight the main villain right at this spot. That's where the game ends. Modern Warfare 2 had a really good campaign, in my opinion. The Call of Duty campaigns were honestly pretty solid. I feel like more solid than you would expect them to be. If I told you, there's this, military shooter franchise that's just an annual release that's mainly marketed for its multiplayer mode, where people run around and scream at each other in voice chat and call each other very bad words. That's its main appeal. You wouldn't necessarily expect that their campaign mode would be good. But the Modern Warfare trilogy campaign, I quite enjoyed. Did you play the trilogy? And did you play the Call of Duty Black Ops games? Which did you prefer? I was always a Modern Warfare campaign guy. I liked the Black Ops campaign, especially Black Ops 1, but Black Ops 2 and onwards, I felt that it was kind of dragging out the initial premise too much. I thought Black Ops 1 was a good, self-contained story. And I liked the other Black Ops games well enough, but in terms of my favorite, I just thought that the Modern Warfare trilogy had a good, tight execution of their story. Modern Warfare 3 was my least favorite. I would say Modern Warfare 2 had the best story, and then Modern Warfare 1, and then Modern Warfare 3. But that's just my opinion. So this map, you can see, it's very close quarters, and it's mainly built around these little patches of cover. So, there's a truck, and there's an oil tanker, and there's these little pieces of wall, and there's a little shack, and you kind of bounce from cover to cover because there's a bunch of people on the map, and whenever you expose yourself, there's a high likelihood that you might immediately be getting shot. And then up here is the little tower that you can crawl up, so you always have to watch out for the verticality on this level as well. You might be having a fun time down below, but if you're not keeping an eye on the sky, you might get popped by a scar from the top of the tower. But yeah, this is another very iconic Modern Warfare 2 map. I like the dust storm that's blowing through. I like the little glow sticks on the ground that give kind of a warm orange light. I like the sense of abandoned, like completely abandoned infrastructure out here. The pipelines are falling apart. The buildings are collapsing. The vehicles are all rusted out and rotted. It's a very well designed depiction of just kind of industrial abandonment or something like that. Oops. I thought I could make that jump. I think you can. Maybe I'm just a fool. Maybe I'm a foolish fool. But let's go up the proper way then. Up the ladder. To the highest heights. The highest heights. So from here, of course, you can see all around. And off on the horizon, we've got some trees. Some palm trees or something. Little mountain off in the distance. Hills of sand. There's this constant dust storm. Just blowing and blowing and blowing. Some coniferous trees, it looks like, over there. Which is a bit surprising based on the environment. Not what I would have expected. But yeah, I think this is like a little oil derrick or something. A little installation for pulling up crude, maybe. I honestly don't know what this installation even is here. There is something I'm kind of curious about here. This might only be in the remake, but, well, it is in the remake, but, I don't know if it's in the, it just made me wonder if it's in the original. Around here, in the remake, there's a skull on the ground with a knife through its eye. I don't see it. But it's a reference to the end of the campaign. And it just got me wondering if that was something that was in this map and I never knew about it. But I'm not seeing it anywhere, so I think it's probably not here. Or if it is, it's somewhere else. Yeah, I don't see it. well, in the remake, in the remastered version, you can find that for yourself if you go poking around. But yeah, that's Rust. And I think that'll be the end of our exploration of these old, classic Modern Warfare 2 maps. Let me know if you want to come back again sometime and check out some more of them. I certainly enjoyed exploring them. So, until next time, my friend, take care of yourself. Goodbye.